All right, hello everyone. Welcome to our final event for ToonFest at Home, the Q&A with the Toontown team, and our great annual pie toss. Before we introduce ourselves or say anything else, I want to say welcome and start sending in your questions. You can send in questions for us on our YouTube and Twitch chats, over on Discord. You can email our Toontown post office bot there, or on Twitter as well with the hashtag ToontownLive, or by directly adding Toontown, so at Toontown on Twitter. So start sending those questions in. And I also just want to say thank you all so much for an amazing ToonFest. I really hope that you've enjoyed everything so far. We are here to answer questions about anything that we've talked about at ToonFest so far, or anything that maybe we haven't talked about that you want to ask a question about so we can cover it. It could be anything about the content we're working on, or the nitty-gritty details of how Toontowny Written works, all that sort of stuff. But with that, we're going to go ahead and introduce ourselves. So just to start out, I'll say I'm Joey Zilkowski. You guys may know me as Sir Max. I am the creative director and game design lead of Toontowny Written. And I'm happy to answer any questions about just sort of our overall creative vision for the game.
I'm Daniel. My toon name is Dan. I'm a 3D and texture artist for the team, and I'm happy to answer questions relating to the art department.
Hi, I'm Andrea Toth. I'm known as Bananas in game, and I'm the design director for field offices, and I can answer game design related questions.
Hello, I'm Lappy, or Sir Lappington in-game, and I will be answering public relations and community-related questions.
And I am Allison. I am a support coordinator and a producer for the game. I will be able to answer any support questions, moderation, hiring, or QA-related questions.
And speaking of that, Allison, the first question that was just sent over to us is Gigi wants to know what departments are looking for people right now? Which ones need the most help, and are we looking for people to apply for?
Excellent question. So we are always accepting applications for any positions on the team. There's never a point where we're going to turn down an application if somebody wants to be considered for a position. There are times when, like you asked, we are only looking for specific positions. For example, right now we're looking more carefully for support agents. We're also looking for moderators right now. I believe we're looking for a programmer or two as well. And I think those are the only positions that we are actively looking for and reviewing applications for right now. But like I said, if there's a position, maybe you want to be a concept artist, and I didn't just list that position, you can absolutely send in your application. We will file it. And when the time comes and we're looking for new people for that position, your application will be reviewed. So we're not just going to throw it aside and forget about it. It's always going to be there, and we're always going to be ready for you.
I think it's also worth noting that we've heard your guys' feedback that you all want to know on our website, like which positions are open. And so that is something we're going to be addressing. We just kind of need time to have one of our web developers work on that feature. So we don't know when that's coming, but it's something we've heard, and definitely something we want to do in the future so that people know which positions we're actually actively looking for rather than just seeing all of the positions available. We've got a question from Erased Productions, which is, after field offices, what is going to be your main focus? And I think it's a really good question, and something we've started asking ourselves on the team, like as we're sort of moving towards wrapping up field offices now. It feels like we're in that final stretch. And of course, the big question is, what's next? Field offices, really, they started getting planned. Well, the original idea for them was pitched all the way back in 2015. And then we started working on them in early 2017, so a year and a half before we even announced it. And it's similar where, like, even as we're wrapping up field offices, we are still thinking about what's going to come next. I don't think we have any plans that we can announce right now, but I can ask maybe, Daniel, just from your personal opinion, what would be something that you would want to see next for Toontowny Written?
That's a good question. Yeah, I mean, field offices, obviously we've been putting a ton of work into that. recently and continue to do that until eventual release. But afterwards, I mean, there's a ton of smaller things we'd love to work on, even just cosmetics and stuff. We have a ton of ideas for creative new cosmetics that we can release, and we know that a huge thing that players want are cosmetics, and it's a something that I personally hope to work on after the field office grind, I guess, is complete.
Yeah. I think for me personally, and I think the opinion of a lot of the team, is that we probably want to take some time to work on smaller projects. We've been in this multi-year project for a long time, and while it's hopefully really going to be really amazing to see when it's released, we know that people also crave a little bit more frequent content, which is hard to do when we're working on something as massive as that. So I think there are plans to sort of break off into smaller groups on the team. With our new project management system, we're able to do that a little easier and try to address some of the things that have been bugging Toontown players for a while. I know, for example, I've seen stuff in the chat, people asking about when golf is going to be fixed. That could be one of those things. We don't really know for sure yet, but it's definitely one of the things that we're looking for feedback on. So be sure to send that in. This is a game design question. Andrew, you might be able to answer this. Brandy or Brady B asks, will we ever be able to have similar customized gag layouts like some cast members? For example, I'd love to be able to play on a toon without throw or squirt. And while we definitely don't have plans for that at the moment, I don't know, Andrea, what's your opinion on that from like a game design perspective of that particular feedback?
I think that would be a lot of fun because it would add more like diversity into the game. You could have a toon, like they said, without throw or squirt, and then that would add like another challenge to the game, like, oh, I don't have any throw at all, so now you have to come up with new strategies and such. So I feel like that would be a fun addition to the game.
Yeah, there's some people who try to do that to the best of their ability by just not working on their gags right now. I think they have at most a whole cream pie because you have to get that one from Maze Mulliland and they stop. I know that's a controversial way to play the game, but it is really cool to just see people's creativity and find those new challenging ways to play the game. So it would be neat to experiment with something like that in the future. That would be a more official way without sort of taking away from other people's experiences. Let's see, Lappy, I know that this isn't something you're directly involved with, but being in the public relations department, you might be able to talk about this a little bit. Candy asks, what is the process of creating new characters to add to the storyline? And how do you come up with these characters' personality and stories? And I guess you could also answer that even from a cast member perspective, how we come up with the cast member personalities.
Well, at least for new characters to the storyline, it's generally handled by the creative writing department, with one of our creative writers, Jake, being more or less our lore master on the team. They just develop what they need to do and then kind of craft the personality to fit everything in the game. With cast members, it's basically the same. It's just you make it toony and fit the storyline and fit everything that's needed for the gag setup and everything, and that's more or less it.
Yeah. The unique thing with cast members is that rather than those being created by the creative writers, of course, the creative writers might jump in to give a little bit of input about it, but those are created by team members. So any member of the Toontown Rewritten team can host a proposal for a cast member that they want to create, which is a Toon Trooper or a Resistance Ranger, and they can sort of propose their own backstory for it. So whenever you meet a cast member in game, they have unique stories. Like you can ask them, how did you join the Toon Resistance, or how did you join the Toon Troop? And most likely they will have a backstory that they've kind of pre-prepared about how they got into that, because we want those characters to really feel like they are part of the Toontown universe and give a little bit more interactivity that you don't normally get with typical NPCs. Let's see. We've got a question from Mr. Toon 137, who may have to change their name to Mr. Toon 140 when we get to field offices. But they ask for Daniel, will Toontown Retextured ever be returning?
That's also a good question. From a texture art perspective, well, first thing, let me establish that I wasn't on the team when the majority of the Retextured project was going on. But that being said, I do know that the concept of retexturing the entire game is a very large feat. So I can understand why that project never became fully realized. Those resources towards retexturing stuff in a project like Toontown Retextured can be put to use through new content, such as field offices and stuff like that, which is the primary reason I'm sure that it never came to be, because we wanted to put those resources towards other areas, such as new content. In terms of it returning, I don't think it's going to return in the sense of being continued to work on in the same fashion that it was. I know that we have plans to bring some form of higher resolution textures to the game, but the timeline for that remains to be seen.
We've got another really good question here from Mr. Smarty Pants, who says, are there any other games that the game design team has been looking for or has been looking at for inspiration, ideas, or help? For example, I'm going to assume that the ice skating physics and controls were inspired by Super Mario Galaxy, specifically because of the Easter egg of skating backwards. And you're totally right. Super Mario Galaxy is one of the references we've looked at for ice skating controls, because that is a game. I'm sure some of you may have played Super Mario 3D All-Stars, so this may be fresh in your mind, but that's a game that has some really fun ice skating. And we are kind of working to make our ice skating controls better. We aren't fully happy with how they work right now. That's one of the things, if you guys watched Behind the Tuniverse, that you might have seen. Is I forget the exact percentage we said, but it's not quite complete because we want to go back and touch those up. Another game we looked at specifically for ice skating was actually Mario Kart. Some people who follow me on Twitter may remember that I think sometime last year, I posted a clip of me just like doing a random, I was in a battle course on Mario Kart and doing like a really hard, like 180-degree drift sort of thing. And I posted it saying, like, this is for an upcoming Toontown thing. I want you guys to guess what it's actually being used for. And so some people did guess that's actually for ice skating, because we were trying to figure out what's a good way to sort of allow people to skid to a stop and totally change directions while ice skating. So Mario Kart has a very similar system, even though it has nothing to do with ice skating. So yeah, that's at least the references we've looked at for that. Andrea, I don't know if you have any references in mind that we've used for other things recently.
I do, actually. Two that come right to my mind are Club Penguin and Wizard 101 for something that's not out yet, obviously, but we did use them as references.
Yeah. Another thing I can think of is Disney Sorcerer Arena, I think it's called. It's a mobile game that Disney released this year. Its battle system is sort of it's similar to Toontown. It's a little bit different, but it's got the similar turn-based thing. And we did reference that game specifically for an aspect of Cellbot field offices. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Let's see some other questions. So this comes from Dark Spine. They say, how has the Discord feedback hub been for the team so far? How many suggestions have been read and considered already? Off the top of my head, I don't know how many have actually been like implemented into the game, but if you check out our feedback panel that we did yesterday, I think it was something like, since June, we've had 1,900 pieces of feedback submitted to that channel. And I'm sure it's over 2,000 now, even just a day later. So it's crazy. A lot of the stuff has been, I guess I shouldn't say a lot because it's not like a majority of things, but a lot of the things in 2.7.0 have come from community suggestions. And we're definitely going to continue using that feedback going forward. This is a more generic question that I'll point to Allison since we haven't heard from her recently. Lilybug asks, what is your favorite thing about Toontown Rewritten?
That's a great question, and there are a couple of different aspects about the game that I really love. In terms of like a social aspect, my favorite thing about Toontown Rewritten is how diverse and how inclusive it is, both on the team and in game. Our team is made up of really, really diverse people. We have people from all around the world, all around the United States. We have people in Canada. We have people in the UK. We have somebody over in Israel. We also have people of different backgrounds. We have people with disabilities. We have people who are I can't even list how many different diverse people we have on the team. It's amazing. And in terms of the actual gameplay, I think my favorite part of the game is meeting somebody new and spending a lot of time with them and really getting to know them. There are several people who I met through the game who are now some of the closest people in my life. Some of those people are on the team, some of them are not on our team. And I met them because of Toontown Rewritten. And I'm sure everybody in this community has a similar story. So, there's a couple of different aspects that I can cover to answer that question. Strictly gameplay-wise, I think training gags is my personal favorite. I'm one of those people who just kind of accidentally maxes my gags without really trying, because I really like going in cog buildings on my tunes. And cog buildings obviously give you more gag experience. And I just kind of end up maxing my tunes without really meaning to. So for me, I think just working on gags and seeing my gags build up is a really exciting part of the game.
Awesome. We've got another question here. This may be for Daniel, may also be for Lappy. Something random asks, will we ever see past ToonFest tire again in the form of something such as delivery drops?
I'll take that one. It's we've always said in the past that the ToonFest attendee items would be limited to the amount that we generate at the time. And we don't currently plan to go back on that, as it would be unfair to people already with the items. So it's sadly at this time unlikely they'd be in the delivery drops. But there might be other unique things in. Time will tell.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that we've done with delivery drops is bring back some of the exclusive items from Toontown Online that were never re-released in Toontown Rewritten. And I know a lot of thought went into that process of, trying to pull out things that felt fair to release as sort of exclusive items without making it, too exclusive or not exclusive enough compared to what it used to be. We've got some questions about the battle rewrite that we talked about relating to field offices. So this particular one comes from Skipper. I know a few others asked similar questions. It says, what led to the decision to rewrite the cog battle code and add more cogs to a battle? Was there internal pushback to the idea of 4+ cog battles and higher than level 12 cogs? And that's a great question. For context, in order to do what we wanted to achieve with the Sawbot Field Offices update, we had to go through, and I say we, but really it was Jacob, or the random dog, one of our programmers. He went back and rewrote the Toontown battle code, which was very messy, very old, very rigid in the way it works. Toontown was never really designed to have more than 4 cogs in a battle, and it was never designed to have higher than level 12 cogs. Even Disney ran into this limitation, which is why we started seeing stuff like the virtual cogs and the version 2.0 cogs, because they were actually easier to create those types of cogs than it was to expand them beyond level 12, because the game just wasn't designed that way. However, we know that as Toontown expands and as we want to keep adding more to the end game content, that level 12 cogs aren't going to cut it anymore. And so in order to do that, not just for Salvat field offices, but for any sort of future content, we needed to go back and rewrite the battle system in a way where, as a player, you probably won't notice any differences. I mean, it still functions the same, but behind the scenes, the framework now allows us to push that boundary a little further. And we've written it in a way so that hopefully we won't hit that ceiling again. I believe the system even supports up to like beyond level 50 cogs. And that doesn't mean we can just drop level 50 cogs into the game, because there's a lot of considerations about, what are the attacks going to be? Are they new types of cogs? Are they existing cogs, but their levels just get higher? All that sort of stuff. Are there new types of attacks than we've seen before? And so some of those questions will be answered in the Salvat Field Offices update. A lot of those are going to be answered just in the future for future content. We wanted to plan ahead of time for that. To answer the second part of the question, I actually don't think there was really any internal pushback against those ideas, not that I can remember. I think it all sort of made sense to us. Like it made sense that if we're going to make Toontown harder, we're going to need harder cogs. For this particular boss battle, we wanted to have like 4 normal cogs and then 1 boss cog, and that made sense. So there were a lot of discussions about how to do that right, but I don't think it was really anything that like got pushed back from anyone on the team. And a similar question came in. I can't find it on my screen right now. Oh, here it is. This is from Adorkable. They asked, do you plan to expand on the idea of making TTR more unique as a game, or is the team on a roadmap to make TTR stay like TTO? And this is a question we sort of answered, I think, during the feedback session yesterday, but to expand on it a little more, there is a bit of a misconception that a lot of people think that Toontown Rewritten is very hard and fast going to make Toontown Online and nothing different. And that's not quite true. It's not the full picture. Our motto since the beginning has been that we want Toontown Rewritten to feel like Toontown Online never closed. So what would it mean if the original Toontown Online developers, Jesse, Bruce, Sean, Joe Shockett, Felipe Lara, people we saw yesterday at that one panel, what would it be like if they were still making the game today? Because they sort of had the core visions of what they wanted Toontown to be. And so what would those original developers and others that we haven't talked to before make the game like if they were building it still in 2020? That definitely doesn't mean that they would never add any new features at all, or even add new things like new bosses, new cogs, new gags, and whatnot. But it does mean that they would probably stick to the core values that they had when they originally created the game, so that it still feels like Toontown. We don't really want to overhaul a lot of stuff. That's not really what Toontown Rewritten is trying to do. We're really just trying to expand on what's already there while retaining the original nostalgia, the original gameplay, and all of the fun that we remember playing as kids. So hopefully that gives you a bit of insight into our process. And one more thing I'll add is we actually have game design pillars that help guide us on those things, to make sure that all of the content that we create is staying true to what we believe Toontown Online was meant to be. So to go in a different direction, this is a fun question from Kitten 10333. I'll direct this to Andrea and Daniel. She says, do the eyes in the Toontown Rewritten logo have a name? And could they be incorporated into the lore? Because I think that would be cool. So what would you guys name the Toontown Rewritten eyes to put you on the spot here? They're
That's
stumped.
such a cute idea. I am.
Yeah, me too.
Ooh, I like what someone in the chat said. Googly.
Oh, that's a
Googly.
good one. Googly.
Yeah, I think.
Googly the eyes.
Yeah, for me, it would probably be double marshmallows. It's a little bit
For me-
food related, but you know, they're kind of like squishy. You want to like almost eat them, you know. So
I've always kind of viewed the eyes somehow connected to our narrator voice, like the voice that was used during the Toonies and everything. Like, I don't know why, but I feel like those eyes are attached to that sort of like disembodied voice somewhere, the cartoony narrator that we use sometimes. But that's just my headcanon, at least. So Genebu has a really interesting question. And anyone can feel free to chime in on this. They say, a lot of people ask what the staff team's favorite parts of being on the Toontown Written team is and whether they like it or not. But they're curious, what is their least favorite thing to deal with or job to do in your position on the Toontown Written team?
I can go. So
Go for
my
it.
least favorite thing has to be that we're not in person. Since we're all around the world and stuff, none of us can like we can meet up for like, you know, ToonFest in real life and stuff, but it's not like we have an office that we can all be together at and, you know, collaborate at.
Yeah.
yeah, I think a lot of anything I would think of would be tied to that as well, kind of rooted in the struggles and complications that can come with working in an online game development environment. Yeah, that's what I would say. Just communication issues. If it's, you know, online based, sometimes things can you know, read the wrong way, even though intentions are perfect. That would be mine.
And kind of building off of what Dan and Andrea said, another struggle that comes with working in a strictly online environment when you're not in an office with a bunch of people is it can be really difficult to schedule meetings. You know, as a producer, one of my responsibilities is to help with scheduling meetings for the team. And that can be difficult when not only are we not working in the office, but we have a bunch of people who have different availability and they're located all over the world. So we have people who are full-time employees, we have people who are full-time students, we have people like myself who are doing both of those things. So scheduling especially can be really, really difficult. And obviously that's not as much of a problem if you're working in the office because you're already there with the people that you work with.
Yeah. A funny story based off of that. When I was scheduling with the Toontown Online developers, you know, the call that we were going to do, on our team, we use a platform called When to Meet. And it's basically like we can set up blocks of time and people can just like sort of click and drag and fill in their availability. And that's how we plan our meetings. And I sent a When to Meet to the Toontown Online developers, and Sean sent me a message back that was like, whoa, like I feel like I have like choice paralysis here because like I had given him a huge block of time, like basically a 24-hour span of like any time from Sunday to Monday. Like literally it could be 3 a.m. or something. Like any of these would work for me. And I ended up adjusting that to make it a much smaller block because I've been used to on the Toontown Written team, we have people worldwide. And so we have to, sometimes we do have to have late night meetings. And sometimes we are like up at 3 a.m. because you can't talk to someone otherwise. And we have to sort of work around schedules and all that sort of stuff. But luckily with the Toontown Online developers, we ended up doing it on like a Saturday afternoon because everyone was in the United States and it was much easier to schedule. But yeah, there's a lot of complications that come from working online. And we're definitely missing ToonFest in person this year, not just seeing the fans, but as a team, it's the one time of the year that we get to see each other face to face. And it definitely helps us become more motivated and helps us bond with each other more and become a better team. But yeah, that was a great question. So let's see. Just trying to get some other questions that maybe we haven't had before here. Let's see. Gigi has another question that I think is really interesting. They ask, what's the current stance of the team regarding other Toontown private servers? Do you see them as rivals, friends, or something else? We definitely don't see them as rivals. I wouldn't say that we have like a close enough relationship with other servers to necessarily call them friends, but I certainly have friends who work on other servers. And overall, I think our stance, our sort of official stance as a team, is that any project that is helping the Toontown community thrive and keeping this game alive is a good project in our book. We have servers like Corporate Clash who have sort of totally redesigned what Toontown is. Like they've gone back and reworked a whole lot of systems that we haven't really even considered reworking on Toontown Rewritten, since we're meeting different goals as them. And it's cool to see all of those different ideas out there. I would say maybe, if anything, sometimes we're cautious, especially when new servers pop up, because in complete honesty, the Toontown community has been burned a lot by other smaller servers, with things like people's data getting leaked. There's been a lot of drama. We even saw with Club Penguin that the entirety of Club Penguin private servers were taken down because of one bad apple who made some really horrible decisions on one of the Club Penguin private servers, and Disney had to step in. They had no other choice but to just end all of Club Penguin, basically. And that can happen to Toontown if Toontown private servers have a huge responsibility. And I hate to say that not all of them really take that as seriously as they should. But ultimately, in terms of, I guess, the most popular private servers, like it seems like all of them are doing a great job and have a lot of really awesome ideas for what, just different visions of what Toontown could be. I don't know if anyone else here has anything they wanted to add on to that.
Yeah, kind of building off that, kind of like what you said, Joey. We don't really, well, at least myself, I don't know a lot of other team members personally, but from a more community-wide perspective, it's cool being able to kind of become a player from the outside, I guess, because when you're working on stuff as a developer, you don't really get that same experience that you would of playing or seeing or watching something new that's come to the game. So when other servers are able to achieve that, especially when it's on a more major scale, it's very interesting to watch that and kind of feel that excitement from an outside perspective, something other than the development that we're working on.
Yeah. We've got a question here from Nighthawk, which says, how long did it take for Toontown Rewritten to go live originally back in 2013 to 2014? They can't remember when it came out. So Toontown Rewritten was announced on September 19th, 2013. Like the minute that Toontown Online closed, I made a post on MMO Central Forums, one of the long-running Toontown communities, that announced Toontown Rewritten. We said, we have a team, we're working on this. We have some prototypes that seem like they might go somewhere. So here we go. I believe it launched, our alpha launched with 100 people, I think October 27th or somewhere around there of the same year. And then we weren't actually publicly available for anyone to play until late 2014. I guess in June 2014, we introduced the playline and playtime system for Toontown Online's 11th birthday, which was the ability that people could essentially wait in line to play the game. It works sort of like fast passes at Disney World, where you can either sign up for a slot and you can play for 3 hours, or you can wait in line. And that line went on for like over a week sometimes, because there were so many people waiting to play the game. And it was because we actually, a lot of people don't know, especially new players, that when we launched Toontown Rewritten, it's not like everything from Toontown Online was there. There weren't cogs in the original version of Toontown Rewritten because we hadn't made them yet. The only thing we had when we launched was Toontown Central and the maze game, I believe, on the Trolley. And then we did these daily alpha updates where we sort of added a new Trolley game every day. And it was a really stressful time because we were trying to implement content as quickly as possible before the remaining parts of the Toontown community got bored and decided that they weren't interested in Toontown anymore. And then we officially launched publicly in September 2014 for our 1-year anniversary. And we still didn't even have all of the content that Toontown Online had until our version 2.0 update, which was, I think, 2017. So it took many years, really, to restore everything that the original game had, because like I've seen now on Reddit that there is the archive floating around with like the original source code from Toontown Online and everything with all of the comments, which is super helpful for getting new servers up and everything. And at the time, we did not have a reference like that. We had some of the original source code, but we were not able to pull from Toontown Online source code. We had to create a lot of that stuff ourselves. And so it took a very long time. Let's see. Spirit Dragon says, how much time do y'all spend on the Toontown team compared to what sounds like fairly busy lives? So that's a question for anyone. Maybe Lappy, you could start since we haven't heard from you in a while.
Yeah, I spend a fairly considerable amount of time doing things for the game throughout the day. But I don't really do a great deal else in terms of hobbies. So computing is pretty much it. Programming for the Discord server and things like that.
Yeah.
I imagine Allison probably. But carry on from that.
What? Oh, sure. So I am kind of in a weird position where I am working full-time in the real world and going to school full-time, but I am working from home right now because of everything going on in the world. So I've had a lot more time that I can dedicate to the team than I probably normally would. So I don't really want to put an hour count on it because it's just really high. But I probably spend at least as much time doing work for this team as I do for my in-person job and with my schooling. So it is a big time commitment, at least for me, especially, for people who are in leadership positions or coordinator positions. We do a lot of work. Some of it's behind the scenes and stuff like that, but everybody on this team, there are so many people who do so much work. And even I'm like, how do you manage to do that? That's amazing. It's just phenomenal.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I have a full-time job at Shell Games where I spend, my weekdays 8 hours a day developing games. And a lot of times, as soon as I'm done at work, I hop off and then hop onto Toontown and spend a lot of the rest of my day developing games. I also recently got married. Woo. So it's a lot of stuff to juggle, being a Toontown Written team member, because we are just volunteering our time. And unfortunately, a lot of times we can't put in 40-hour weeks that normal game developers can. We have to just kind of do what we can in the free time that we have. And that often eats into time that we could spend playing other video games, hanging out with friends, that sort of thing. But we do it because we love this game. We love the community. We know that you guys, we know that Toontown has done a lot in our lives, and we want it to continue impacting other people. So in a way, it's just an act of service. It's our way of giving back to this community that's given so much to us.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Daniel.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, for me, it's the most time I spend is obviously during the summer, when I have the most free time, and then otherwise, I have school and stuff, so I kind of just work my way around that and kind of do as much as I can.
There's a really cool question from Spec who says, has the team ever considered collaborating with other games? It'd be cool seeing crossover items in the game, which I fully agree. I don't think it's ever really been something we've considered, just because it's hard to imagine ourselves in a way as like a legitimate game, I guess. It's a lot of times we kind of just feel still like this ragtag group of fans that's doing our best to keep Toontown alive. But I'll ask our group here, what games would you guys like to see Toontown crossovers with? Like, if you could pull in an item from another game, what would you put to put in Toontown? What would it be?
Mine's kind of a bit unrealistic, but I'm a big Nintendo fan. So it'd be cool to see like a Toon wearing like a Mario cap or something. Not realistic and not going to happen, but you know, one can dream.
I'd like to see like a trolley game based on Fall Guys. 'Cause that sounds like it would be fairly amusing.
I agree. Any other thoughts? For me, I think I had something a second ago. Oh, I would want to see, rather than bring something into Toontown, I would want to see Toontown go into another game like Super Smash Brothers or Fall Guys or something like that. Like, I want to play as like a flunky in Fall Guys. That'd be fun. A question from Toon Terramine Gamer. They ask, when will the trolley toaster from ToonFest 2019 be released? Daniel, you might be able to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, everyone loves the trolley toaster. Yeah, the trolley toaster is pretty much ready to go. I believe the tech art is now done for it as well. So it should be out fairly soon. I know there was also brand art for it, which was shown briefly in one of the panels yesterday. So yeah, the answer is soon, as it has been. But everything's done, including tech art now. So it's ready to hit production fairly soon.
We've got a big question here from Duckington Finch, who says, former TTR staff member here. Hello, we miss you. If Disney were to introduce a modern version of Toontown that pays homage to some classic aspects of the original game, would you still want to keep TTR alive, even though the new Disney version would certainly be a completely different game? I ask this as someone who desperately wants to see a modern Toontown release, but profoundly cares that the original TTR maintains the historical accuracy. So yeah, that is a really great question, because I also am one of those people who would absolutely love to see a new modern version of Toontown. I know it's something that Jesse is still talking about, that we saw in our Toontown Online video yesterday. I'm working at Shell Games now. Sean's at Shell Games. Maybe one day we'll be able to do that. So I have full hope that one day we are going to see a Toontown sequel. That said, what does happen to the original game? I don't really know. Our goal as Toontown Rewritten has always been to keep Toontown alive. And Toontown Rewritten is sort of a means of doing that, but it's not the end goal. From the beginning, our idea, because Jesse, even from the moment that Toontown announced it was closing, he had talked about, I really hope we can get this back one day. And so our goal as Toontown Rewritten has been to sort of keep the Toontown community alive until a day where we get a more modern version, some sequel, and an official revival of the game. An official revival of the game certainly means that we would have to pay for Toontown again, because game development isn't free. but it's one of those things that feels like it's so important for our world, honestly. There's a gap in video games that has not been filled since Toontown shut down. There's not really been another game like Toontown that's come along and connected people in exactly the same way that Toontown did across, multiple generations. The closest thing, as mentioned yesterday, is almost sort of like Minecraft and Roblox, which, scratches that itch to an extent, but it really just isn't quite the same as Toontown. And so I don't know. I don't know what it would look like. If Disney ever came to us and said, we're making a new version of Toontown and we need you to shut Toontown Rewritten down, I mean, I can't speak for everyone on the team, but I feel like we probably would, because that's, for us, our goal is not to make ourselves popular as Toontown Rewritten. Our goal is to keep the Toontown community alive. And if Disney creating a new version of the game is going to do that, then, that's what we would do. However, I know that I've seen Jesse answer questions in the past where he personally has said, that he wouldn't feel like that any of the Toontown servers would need to shut down if a sequel was made. It seems like that those things can still exist as just different things. Some people like the original classic nostalgia. Some people would want to see something brand new with, a more modern version of Toontown that pays homage to the original game. So only time will tell, but I certainly hope it's something that we see one day. Let's see. I'll ask the group here as we're starting to wrap up. Are there any questions you all have seen that you want to make sure that we answer?
I saw a question come in about somebody was asking what 2 of our newer departments are. I think they're listed on the wiki now. They were asking what the production and team operations departments are for. So I just wanted to touch on that a little bit, because I think a few other people have noticed that too, and they're not really sure either. So the production department, which is one that I am a member of, is currently 2 people strong. Our lead is Joey A. And that department is basically the department that is responsible for being the go-to location for any information about projects. So, for example, the field offices project, somebody should be able to come to a producer and be like, hey, do you know what's going on with this? When is the next meeting about field offices? Anything like that, and we'll be able to answer. Same goes for ToonFest, the new launcher, any kind of project that our team is taking on will have a producer, at least one producer, be a part of that project. The production department also helps with scheduling meetings, maintaining meetings, taking notes for them, all that kind of stuff. In terms of the team operations department, team operations is led by Lauren, and that department is now responsible for hiring management. So they're the ones who review the applications and all of that fun stuff. And they also help with maintaining the general wellness of the team. They, check in with everybody, make sure, hey, are you doing okay? If you need anybody to talk to, you can go to them. And it's kind of like an open forum for anything that you want to talk about, which is really, really helpful. Those 2 departments were previously all under organization, and organization then split into production and team operations. So I just wanted to put that out there because it didn't seem like it had really ever been talked about with the community, but it was posted in the public, so now y'all know. And team operations is currently only hired internally, but we are working on a production application for the public. So if you guys think you might like to be a producer someday, if you have experience with project management, stuff like that, keep an eye out because we will be having a production application posted in the future.
All right. Thanks, Allison. All awesome information. I got one quick question here, and then I have one more that we'll wrap up after that. So Enrique asks, will Toontown ever be in other languages like Spanish? The answer is, at the moment, we hope so. It's not something that we had plans to do it a long time ago. We had a project called Translating the Tuniverse, which if you look up, you can see our old blog post for that, which unfortunately we put on pause. Things got busy with other projects. It was a very ambitious thing that we weren't able to do at the time. However, we are working on things that will hopefully allow that to happen in the future, such as our new launcher that June talked about earlier this week. We're building that with support so that one day, hopefully, we will be able to translate Toontown into other languages, because it would really be magical, in my opinion, to be able to talk to other people through speed chat. And I could be talking in English, you could be talking in Spanish, and we would both fully understand each other without, the server would do the translation for us. And so that's sort of the dream that we'd love to do one day. And then last question, I will direct to Lappy. So Willow asks, do you guys plan on having any year-round events similar to ToonFest in the upcoming year?
We haven't got any events that we can mention at this time, but with seeing the success of this last week, it is something we are planning on doing and we'll look into doing and have more information later on in the year.
Yeah, I mean, ToonFest this year really has been amazing. It's been a lot of work internally. There's been a lot of stress, a lot of things having to sort of scramble together at the last minute. It takes so many hours to put on that is hard to convey, even in the online format. But it is something that we've seen the community loves. If you guys had fun at ToonFest, definitely give us that feedback. If you didn't have fun at ToonFest, give us that feedback too, because that can help us improve these events for the future. It's hard to say if we're going to have anything really similar to this, because the amount of work that it takes to put this on is really something we can only do once a year. But we have tried to make up for it this year by introducing Tooncasts, where we had one in January and then I think another one in May. And those were almost, at least starting with the May one, it was sort of a more Nintendo Direct type of format to keep you guys posted on what we've been working on. And that's something that we are planning to continue doing in the future. We're sort of reevaluating if we're still going to do them quarterly, because those also take a lot of work to put together. So chances are they aren't going to still be once a quarter, and we'll rather just sort of end up being, when we have things to show, we will show them. That way we don't have to stress anyone out about getting something together. But yeah, definitely give us your feedback. We would love to do more events like this and love to hear what sort of events you guys want to see. So we're about to show our pie toss video. Before we do, I just want to say thank you all for sending in these questions. Thank you for being here and celebrating ToonFest with us at home. I really hope that next year we'll be able to bring ToonFest back in person. But it's been a lot of fun. And I don't know if anyone else has anything they want to add on to that.
Yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed ToonFest, and thanks for all the questions.
All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and play the pie toss video where people from our team, from the community, all sent in videos of themselves being pied, since we weren't able to do that in person this year. So hope you guys enjoy, and thank you again. We'll see ya.
Welcome everyone to the Pie Toss 2020. We're so excited to still be able to host this great annual tradition despite all the craziness going on in the world right now. So without further ado, let's let the pies fly. And actually, I think I'm up first. Let's go. Alright, my name is Quentin. I am Toontown Rewritten's community manager, and I am now going to get pied. So 3, 2, 1. Aww.
6 years ago, Toontown fans brought their own pies to ToonFest and started an annual tradition. This year, we're throwing the pies back. So tell me, Toontown, are you toon enough?
Hi, I'm Allie.
And I'm Noah.
And we are moderators for TTR.
Hi everybody, I'm Allison. I am a support coordinator and producer with Toontown Rewritten, and today I'm going to be pieing myself in the face.
Hey guys, my name is Liv. I'm the community representative for Toontown Rewritten, and I'm about to get pied in the face.
Hi, my name is James, and I'm a community representative for Toontown Rewritten. Today, I'm about to give myself a pie in the face for ToonFest.
Hi, this is Peanut Treacle Doodle. I am the support lead for Toontown Rewritten.
Hi, I'm Wild, and I'm a community rep for Toontown Rewritten, and this is my pie toss.
I'm Suzuka, and I'm a game programmer, and I'm about to be pied.
Hi, I'm Andrea. I'm in game design, and today I'm gonna get pied in the face.
Hey everyone, I'm Daniel. I'm an artist for Toontown Rewritten, and here's my pie in the face.
Hello, I'm Alex, otherwise known as King Pancake Sourblot, and I'm a moderator for Toontown Rewritten. I think I'm now about to receive a pie in my face.
Hi, I'm Saffron, also known as Tobias Laffington, and I'm a community representative. And today I'm going to be pied in the face. Ah!
3, 2. Hi there, I'm Brad, Toontown Rewritten's marketing lead, and now I'm about to get pied in the face. Here I go. You know, on second thought, let's just go for gold.
Whoa, that is cold. Woo! +5 throw points.
I don't have a pie, but I have a cupcake. And I'm Princess Lily Gadget. And I sure am tuned enough.
Hey, what's up? It's Grace. Happy ToonFest!
Hi, I'm Imogen, also known as Miss Lily. I got to pie Saffron, so I have to take a pie for my crimes.
Hi guys, this is Ivy, aka Sunshine. This is my pie toss. Happy ToonFest.
Hi, my name is Jay or King Pig. Happy ToonFest.
I'll go fast. Okay. Close your eyes.
My name's Laffy, and I'm an art contractor for Toontown Rewritten, and I'm tuning up.
Pearl Sourfoot, are you tuning up?
No, please! It's cold, oh my god.
Come here, go. Look at the camera. Mark, are you tuning up?
Maybe.
Hi, I'm Candy, and this is my podcast. Happy ToonFest.
Hi, I'm Penelope or Talia, and yeah, I'm gonna get a pie in the face.
There is an I in pie.
Not today, Winter! Are you tuning up?
I'm Teresa, but you may know me as Play-Doh on Toontown Rewritten.
I'm Maximilian, about to get pie in the face.